The first thing I did after being reborn was to frantically ditch school and train my body. I wasn't swayed by the teacher's threats of expulsion or even my girlfriend Willow Liu breaking up with me, because I, having lived this life once before, knew that in just one more month, all sorts of devil fruits would sprout across the globe. Getting a devil fruit meant getting superhuman powers. In my past life, despite gaining powers, I died a miserable death in a zombie tide because my fruit was too weak and my physical constitution was garbage. Now that I was reborn, I had to take advantage of my foreknowledge and seize everything I could. I knew from my past life that a devil fruit had appeared near my school, at a shop ridiculously named You're Too Handsome. I just didn't know the exact time. So, after my rebirth, I went to that fruit shop every single day, buying a few fruits, just as an excuse to see if the fruit had appeared yet. Walking into the shop, I did my usual rounds, scanning every stall, not missing a single piece of fruit. When I reached the peach section, too short, purple stems suddenly caught my eye. Shoving aside a pile of peaches covering them, the body of the purple stem was revealed. That was it. It looked exactly like the devil fruit from my memory. This was the fruit of one of the four emperors, Kaido, according to later reports. This was the strongest fruit, whose exact location I knew from my past life. Incredible. My heart leaped with joy. After paying, I walked out with a bag of fruit, only to come face to face with a rather burly middle-aged man. In a flash, a face from my past life's memory merged with the man before me. It was him, the one who had used the Azure Dragon Fruit in my past life. That was close, I thought. If I had been one step later, he would have bought the Azure Dragon Fruit. Back at my dorm, I didn't hesitate. I picked up the fruit and took a bite. The taste was like a bucket of water being dumped into a septic tank, stirred with a filthy rag, and then shoved into my mouth. It was so disgusting I nearly threw up. But I choked down the revulsion and swallowed the flesh. Then, with renewed determination, I devoured the rest of its skin, leaves, and the short purple stem. A long moment later, I took a deep breath. The seed of a miracle had been sown. Now, I just had to wait. I pulled out my phone and started scrolling through short videos and forums. After browsing the major platforms, I typed a few things into the search bar. I opened the first video, just as I remembered from my past life. In the video, a blonde young man who looked rather eccentric was holding up a strange fruit, showing it off. "Brothers, see this rumble devil fruit? I'm auctioning it in the comments. Highest bidder gets it." Watching it, I couldn't help but feel a stir. Although I had eaten the Azure Dragon Fruit and couldn't eat a second one, everyone would know the value of devil fruits once the apocalypse hit. A single fruit would later be priceless, a critical trading resource. Even if I didn't use it for trade, I could give it to my parents or my sister. Besides, it wasn't entirely impossible to eat a second devil fruit. It just required strength, luck, and opportunity. I didn't leave a public comment. Instead, I sent a private message to the blonde guy, whose username was Gogwi Maodong. I messaged, "Hey man, that fruit looks great, super realistic. I want to buy it. You know those people in the comments are just messing around. Just give me a straight price. If it's reasonable, I'll take it." In a small town next to the provincial capital of Jizhou, a blonde guy was strolling down the street. My message made him ecstatic. He replied, "Buddy, this is a real devil fruit. Is 1 million too much?" I was speechless. "For real? Then why don't you eat it yourself if you're serious about selling? Give me a normal price. Otherwise, I'm blocking you." The blonde guy scratched his head and tested the waters. "How about 100,000 then?" He had dropped the price by a factor of 10. But he knew a model fruit wasn't worth that much. Still, what if the other guy was some rich idiot? Of course, I was no idiot. I feigned impatience and replied, "Final price, 1,000. For a model of this quality, that's the absolute ceiling." The blonde guy, Wyatt Way, sighed. He wanted to squeeze out more, but 1,000 was already beyond his expectations. It was enough for him to live comfortably for a while. He immediately asked for the money in exchange for the item, saying he'd ship it. I wasn't having it. He wasn't a professional seller. What if I paid and he bailed? I told him to just give me an address, and I'd come for a face-to-face transaction. Wyatt didn't mind. In person it is, he thought. What, is he going to rob me? After getting the address, I traveled for 2.5 hours and finally arrived at the town bus station Wyatt had mentioned. He looked up and asked, Are you the one buying the devil fruit? No need to beat around the bush. I nodded. Show me the payment code. I'll check if the fruit is real or fake. Then I'll scan and pay. Wyatt still looked a bit unhappy. He wanted me to pay first. I chuckled. What? You think I'm gonna bail on you? This is your turf. Wyatt thought about it. True, he had a bit of a reputation in this area. If this guy dared to not pay, one phone call could summon a bunch of his buddies. I took the bag from his hand and pulled out the devil fruit inside. My heart began to pound. It was definitely a real devil fruit. I immediately scanned the code, paid Wyatt Way 1,000 yuan, took the fruit, and turned back toward my school. If this small town weren't so remote, I would have taken a train straight home from here. On the way back, I scrolled through some short videos on my phone. Suddenly, one video caught my attention. Many patients have suddenly fallen into a coma today. At the same time, quite a few people have developed strange spots on their bodies. Experts say this could be a new type of flu, urging everyone to wear masks and take precautions. Seeing this news, my heart skipped a beat. Widespread comas, strange spots. These were all harbingers of the apocalypse. It seemed the end of the world was coming even earlier than in my past life. When I got back to the dorm, I hurriedly grabbed my pre-packed luggage, ready to leave. Just then, a blood-curdling scream erupted behind me. Countless people had fainted and were lying sprawled on the ground, their bodies beginning to show terrifying black spots. At the same time, a dreadful, unknown pressure descended, making everyone's heart sink. Then, the comatose people began to make horrifying movements. Their eyes bulged, and their fingernails grew long and sharp like animal claws. They lunged at each other like bloodthirsty zombies. Countless students screamed in panic, cried, and fled in disarray. At that very moment, I felt a power awakening from deep within my bloodline. It was turbulent and immensely powerful power of the devil fruit I had eaten. It began to surge through my body. I threw my head back and let out a resounding roar. Azure scales began to sprout on my skin. Dragon horns grew from my head, and my hands and feet transformed into sharp dragon claws. My entire body began to change. This spectacle instantly terrified my classmates in the hallway. They thought I, too, had turned into a monster like the zombies. After transforming into my beast man form, my physical attributes skyrocketed. My strength, defense, speed, and recovery were all vastly improved. Right on cue, two zombies behind me snarled and charged. I grabbed both zombies with my dragon claws. With a slight exertion of force, I tore them to shreds. Just then, another zombie burst out from the dormitory across the hall. I immediately targeted it. A blast of scorching flames incinerated the zombie, leaving it a charred husk. After that heat breath, I felt my stamina drop significantly. Devil fruit abilities depended on stamina. Even with Haki later on, the resource consumed would still be stamina. The first stage of the divine path was all about physical training. I wasn't from a special race like Kaido, nor did I have his monstrous physique. So, even with the Azure Dragon Fruit, the power I could unleash was far inferior to his. Deciding against another heat breath, I pulled a baseball bat from my backpack. I had this bat custom thicker and heavier, perfect for dealing with zombies. Much better than knives or swords. Though I could have bought materials to forge my own weapons, they would dull too easily. Useless after just a few swings, a far cry from the convenience of a baseball bat. I raised the bat, and arcs of electricity wrapped around it. The Azure Dragon Fruit could control wind, fire, and lightning. Although its elemental power wasn't on par with a Logia type, it was more than enough to boost my attack power. The lightning-wreathed baseball bat swung down on a lunging zombie's head. With a loud crack, even with a zombie's enhanced durability, its skull was smashed by my single blow. This was the formidable physique granted by the Azure Dragon Fruit. I swept through the area, quickly attracting the attention of other students. My continuous slaughter of zombies gave them a chance to breathe. The lightning-wrapped baseball bat in my hands was like a thunder bagua. The zombies before me were basically one-shot kills. But I didn't get lost in the satisfaction of this slaughter. I fought while quickly heading downstairs. There were two urgent matters at hand. First, find a way home. In this life, I couldn't let my parents and sister be harmed again. Second, kill 100 zombies as fast as possible. Because as soon as I single-handedly killed 100 zombies, the divine dimension would open. Then, I could exchange for the 3 types of Haki training methods and accelerate my own power-up. An Azure Dragon could fly, but with my current stamina, I definitely couldn't fly all the way home. Along the way, I swung the iron bat like an unstoppable Azure Dragon war god. A crowd of students had gathered behind me, wanting to follow me out of the building. They didn't know that in the apocalypse, there was no safe place left. Hiding in the dorms with the doors shut might have let them live a little longer. But I didn't care about that. They were just disposable NPCs to me. As soon as I rushed out of the building, my eyes narrowed. The situation downstairs was truly horrifying. This school had once been a burial ground during a past war. Many had died here. Rumor had it that the place was heavy with yin energy. Residential buildings constructed here made many people sick. Later, a feng shui master suggested building a school on the site, using the vigorous life force of young people to dispel the yin energy. Now, those long-dead skeletons, infected by the zombie virus, were crawling out of the ground en masse, attacking any living thing they saw. Someone help me. The entire campus was in chaos. Everyone was running madly, so panicked they crashed into each other. But I ignored them and charged straight for the school gate. Skeletons or zombies, anything in my path was shattered by a single swing of my bat. Finally, just as I reached the gate, my body suddenly froze. I couldn't move. It wasn't just me. Everyone, including the zombies, stood motionless as if the whole world had been paused. A majestic and imposing voice rang in everyone's ears. The divine has descended. The devil fruits have arrived. The divine dimension has opened. Then my vision went black. When I came to, I was in a strange space. There was no space, no time. Only 2 glowing screens, one large and one small. The large screen displayed for words, Divine Shop. The small one, Personal Panel. I was all too familiar with this from my past life. This was an opportunity granted by a mysterious existence. One could use accumulated points to exchange for corresponding items like techniques, equipment, medicine, and so on. Just as I was about to check the shop, the majestic voice from before echoed in my ear again. As the first person to accumulate 100 points by hunting zombies, you will receive a divine reward. Furthermore, as you achieved 100 points within 10 minutes of the apocalypse's start, the reward has been upgraded. You may choose one of the following 3 rewards. I suddenly realized this was something I hadn't experienced in my past life. First, the perfect fruit. It will allow your current Azure Dragon Fruit to reach a perfect state, completely eliminating its side effects. Once the side effects are gone, you will not only be able to ignore the suppression of sea stone and seawater, but also be able to eat a second devil fruit without your body exploding. Second, Haki Genius. Without needing to spend points or train, you will directly awaken the 3 types of Haki. Furthermore, even if you don't actively train, your Haki will slowly develop on its own. If you do train, your Haki cultivation speed will be doubled. Third, Divine Weapon. You can receive a weapon customized to your will. This weapon will be of the supreme grade sword level, and the damage it inflicts on zombies will be doubled. I had to choose one of the 3, the perfect fruit, Haki, or a weapon. Options 1 and 3 could immediately boost my combat power. Option 2 offered slower growth, but a much higher ceiling. Based on my past life's experience, even by the time I received my second divine reward, Haki was still far from obsolete. As I hesitated, the golden words of a master came to mind. Haki is the foundation. Roger, Shanks, Garp, none of them had devil fruit abilities. Yet didn't they become unparalleled powerhouses? Even old man Kaido, in his pursuit of stronger Haki, didn't even bother to properly develop his devil fruit, not even awakening it during his fight with Luffy. Haki Genius, I no longer hesitated. Power lies in mastery, not quantity. How strong the Azure Dragon Fruit could become depended on how strong I myself became. Developing one devil fruit to its absolute limit was already a monumental task. The next moment, a thought flashed through my mind, and I had directly awakened all 3 types of Haki. A faint black aura coated my fist. This was armament Haki. Immediately after, I spent 17 points to exchange for 5 pieces of Sea King meat. This was food that could rapidly replenish stamina, allowing me to fight for longer. The personal panel not only provided personal attributes, but also served as a communication tool. As human civilization's infrastructure collapsed in the apocalypse, everyone would have to rely on the panel's communication function, to stay in touch. It was even humanely divided into different channels. At this moment, many people were already starting to chat. Soon after, the majestic voice rang out again. The time freeze is about to end. In the future, you may enter the divine dimension at will with a thought. My vision went dark. When I woke up again, I was back in my body. Around me were countless zombies and panicked students and teachers. I stuffed a piece of sea king meat into my mouth, chewing greedily as I continued to charge for the gate. Suddenly, I felt a strange sensation. I immediately shifted my position. Right where I had been standing, a skeletal hand burst from the ground. It was observation Haki. A punch from my fist shattered a zombie's head. My stamina was fully restored thanks to the sea king meat. The lightning-wreathed baseball bat quickly took down several charging zombies. Then, I reverted to my human form, jumped into a car, and floored it, speeding out of the city. The road was clogged with an endless line of refugee vehicles. They thought the zombie outbreak was confined to the city and wanted to escape to rural areas to survive. But this world no longer had a single patch of peaceful land. The car radio was still broadcasting an emergency announcement from the state. Everyone, do not panic. Stay indoors and lock your windows. Our military has been deployed. Our biological labs are researching an antidote. Please maintain order and do not cause disturbances. The first wave of the zombie virus was airborne. Those with weak constitutions would be infected. Thus, hospitals and nursing homes were the most infected areas. As the apocalypse unfolded, the main mode of transmission would become bites and blood contact. In this situation, the military, being in peak physical condition, had an extremely low chance of being infected. So, at the onset, the army could still play a role. But I knew this wouldn't last. If the military wanted to quickly clear out zombies, they had to use guns and other firearms. But doing so meant they wouldn't earn any points. Without points, they couldn't get stronger. As the zombies continuously evolved and eventually became immune to conventional firearms, the military would grow weaker and weaker. The collapse of social order would only accelerate. So now, the only hope for survival was for the entire population to become soldiers and fight the zombies. Together, this was a race for survival governed by natural selection. The car sped along. Even if zombies blocked the road ahead, I chose to plow straight through. Suddenly, my phone rang. As soon as I answered, my sister's voice, filled with anxiety and fear, came through. "Brother, where are you? There are so many zombies outside. It's terrifying." "I'm fine. How are you? Are Mom and Dad okay?" Hearing my voice, full of life and seemingly untroubled, my sister Ashley let out a sigh of relief. "Mom listened to you and took leave early to pick me up. Dad is still at the hospital. He said he locked the office, so he's safe for now. You're a miracle worker. If you hadn't insisted Mom take leave, we would have died out there." For the past month, my sister had been wondering why I was bringing home so many supplies every day. When our parents asked, I wouldn't say, and they didn't know where I got the large sum of money. I certainly didn't have that kind of cash. I couldn't have earned that much in a month. But with the apocalypse looming, what was there to fear? I had taken out every high-interest online loan I could find. If not for the fact that I couldn't explain it to my parents, I probably would have mortgaged the house. But with the divine dimension space, there wasn't really a need to hoard too many supplies. These were just for emergencies. As we were talking, a luxury car ahead swerved to avoid a suddenly lunging zombie and flipped over. This directly caused a chain reaction crash. Countless cars piled up, a scene of mangled metal and death. I had long anticipated this. It was too late to stop. I grabbed my backpack and baseball bat, directly transformed into my Azure Dragon form, smashed through the car roof, and soared into the sky. Clouds supported my body as the Azure Dragon ascended. This miraculous sight stunned everyone on the road, making the already severe accident even more chaotic. I had no time to pay attention to the noisy crash scene below. I flew into the clouds, heading in my chosen direction. Every so often, I'd pull out a piece of sea king meat from my backpack to replenish my stamina. I couldn't fly for too long, and soon all the sea king meat was gone, forcing me to land and revert to my human form. I quickly scanned my surroundings. Seeing no zombies, I hurriedly entered the divine dimension, exchanged for 5 more pieces of sea king meat, and stuffed them all into my backpack. Now my pack only contained these 5 pieces of meat and 1 devil fruit. After eating a piece, I didn't take to the skies again. Although the meat could replenish stamina, relying on it for continuous recovery would drain my energy faster and faster. Moreover, mental fatigue couldn't be replenished. I opened my map. I needed to find a highway and get a car. After determining my direction, I transformed into an Azure Dragon again. This time, I only flew for about 10 minutes before I spotted a highway below, with countless cars moving swiftly. I was looking for a sturdy off-road vehicle among them. Many people below saw the Azure Dragon soaring in the sky. Instantly, someone recorded the scene with their phone and uploaded it to the Divine Dimensions communication channel. Everyone, I just saw a dragon, a huge Azure Dragon. It must be nearly 100 meters long. Immediately, someone commented below the video, that must be Kaido's Azure Dragon Fruit. I wonder who was lucky enough to get such a powerful mythical zone. Speaking of which, I once had a rumble fruit, but thought it was a fake and sold it. A comment from an account named Gogui Mao Dong caught many people's attention. A real devil fruit, and a rare Logia-type rumble fruit at that, sold for a mere 1,000 yuan. The blonde young man now wanted to punch himself. In the sky above the highway from Jizhou to Yuzhou, I, in my Azure Dragon form, finally spotted an incredibly sturdy-looking off-road vehicle. Just as I was about to descend and hitch a ride, the corner of my eye caught a faint glimmer of light on a large tree beside the highway. Curious, I flew closer. As I approached, my dragon eyes widened. On a poplar tree that shouldn't bear fruit, nestled among the dense leaves, hung a single fruit. It was shaped like corn, golden all over, with white spiral patterns. It was another devil fruit I had never seen before, but that was normal. There were far more devil fruits in this world than in the story. The manga had a few dozen types, but from what I recalled, the number of documented devil fruits ran into the tens of thousands. Of course, the vast majority were zoan types, and mythical zones were not as rare as one might think. After all, the myths of the world's peoples were countless. Every divine beast or demonic beast within them could become a new mythical zoan fruit. But no matter how common mythical zones were, they still deserved their title as the strongest. I reached out with a claw, plucked the fruit, and put it in the large backpack on my back. Once my points reached 1,000, I could unlock a new permission in the Divine Dimension, Devil Fruit Appraisal. That way, I could avoid eating an undesirable fruit. Of course, the appraisal fee was steep, costing 1,000 points each time. Just as I was about to catch up to that off-road vehicle again, a large truck up ahead suddenly overturned. 3 zombies crawled out from the vehicle and began to block the road, attacking surrounding vehicles. But at this moment, who would dare to stop? Everyone floored the gas, plowing straight through the zombies, swerving their cars to try and shake them off. This action directly caused a chain reaction crash. I glanced over but paid it no mind. Landing next to the overturned truck, I transformed into my beast man form, grabbed the side of the flip truck, and with a great heave, righted it. The strength granted by the Azure Dragon Fruit was truly terrifying. Then, I got in and drove forward. When I reached the scene of the chain reaction crash, I transformed into a divine dragon again and moved all the blocking car wreckage. The cars behind me passed through the path I had cleared, and they even unconsciously started following me. I saw this in the rearview mirror but didn't care. If they wanted to follow, they could, as long as they didn't interfere with my actions. Car accidents happened constantly. I would occasionally get out of the car to deal with zombies and clear the road. The convoy behind me kept a close tail, trying to strike up a conversation. As long as you're willing to protect me, I can give you more money than you can spend. A rich-looking, portly middle-aged man said, flashing an obsequious smile. My majestic dragon eyes gently exerted pressure on him, releasing a sliver of Conqueror's Haki. The middle-aged man was so terrified he involuntarily dropped to his knees, as if the dragon-like young man before him was the supreme ruler of heaven and earth. The small display of Haki scared the group of people who had intended to approach into a stunned silence. However, in a life-or-death situation, there are always those willing to risk it all. A beautiful, imperial-looking woman boldly stepped forward. Even in the apocalypse, she was dressed magnificently. Big brother, can you take me with you? You can do anything you want with me. But all I gave her was a cold glance. Just as I dispelled my ability and was about to get back in the car, a burly man stepped forward from behind. Sir, I am willing to pledge my loyalty to you, seeing that I had no intention of stopping. He quickly marketed himself. "Sir, I've read my fair share of apocalypse stories. You may be powerful, but don't you need people to help build a base?" I, Marcus Meng, may not have many talents, but I have some strength. As he spoke, he even flexed his bulging muscles. "I'm a boxing coach. I can definitely be of help." I paused, turned my head to look at him, and stroked my chin and thought, this guy's not wrong. The order of civilization is about to completely collapse. To survive the apocalypse, I need to build my own safe base. To deal with the zombies, which are evolving at an incredible rate, it will be difficult for me to protect my family at all times by myself. "Get in the car." Seeing me agree, Marcus Meng was overjoyed. He abandoned all his luggage and his own car, afraid that if he were a step too slow, I would leave him behind. He didn't even dare to get in the passenger seat, instead using his own strength to climb into the truck bed behind. Marcus being accepted gave the others a glimmer of hope. This big shot wasn't completely heartless. However, the moment the fat middle-aged man opened his mouth, I cut him off. Even if I wanted to recruit people, I couldn't recruit too many right here. For the early stages, one Marcus Meng was enough. Besides, this man's loyalty was still a question mark that needed to be slowly tested. The woman in the Cheongsam, seeing that I was about to leave, hurriedly added, "I can also work for you. With my looks, you could trade me for quite a few benefits. Besides, I'm still a... Is there really someone who markets themselves like this?" I was truly stunned. This woman was ruthless, but it was often people like her who could accomplish great things. I gave her a deep look. The woman was overjoyed and got into the car. Without my permission, she didn't dare enter the passenger seat either, but instead, with no regard for her image, struggled to climb into the truck bed behind. Seeing this, I silently nodded. This woman was likely more than just a pretty vase. The others behind them wanted to follow suit. I unleashed my conqueror's haki again, and everyone fell to the ground in terror. A long-time One Piece fan recognized this kingly aura. My god, Big Bro has awakened Conqueror's haki. Back in the car, I started the engine and continued on. After driving for a good 2.5 hours, I finally found a roadside service area. It was already occupied by zombies. Passers-by who had wanted to refuel and get food had to give up on the idea when they saw the large number of zombies, but I had no such concerns. As soon as the large truck stopped, a horde of zombies surrounded it. They couldn't get into the cab, so they tried to climb into the truck bed, attacking Marcus and the beautiful woman. The two of them cowered in fear, not daring to stick their heads out. I opened the door, directly transformed into my beast man form, and with a casual swing of my baseball bat, smashed the few zombies climbing the truck. The convoy that had been following me had also arrived at the service area. They had originally planned to wait for me to clear out the zombies and then restock on supplies, but their arrival immediately attracted a large number of zombies. Helplessly, the convoy had to leave. As for me, it was one swing, one kill, and I quickly eliminated all the zombies, leaving only one for Marcus to practice on. Marcus Meng was indeed a boxing coach. His strength, speed, reaction, and combat skills were all excellent. By the time I finished refueling, he had successfully killed the zombie. After restocking, I finally asked the woman in the Cheongsam for her name. Although this woman seemed delicate and useless, she had performed quite well since getting in my car. She hadn't screamed when the zombies climbed onto the truck, which raised her score in my eyes a little more. "My name is Jade Liu." Seeing that I finally asked for her name, the woman hurriedly replied, "Take the passenger seat. No need to climb into the truck bed anymore." My words surprised and delighted Jade Liu. This meant that this young man had acknowledged her. "Yes, master." Her form of address surprised me again. She didn't even ask for my name and directly addressed me as master, casting aside all face and status. Only people like her could survive better in the apocalypse. Soon, we set off again. On the road, I received another call from my sister, Ashley. "Brother, where are you?" "Dad's trapped in his office at the hospital. I heard the hospital has the most zombies. He doesn't have food or water. I'm worried something will happen to him." Ashley's voice was tinged with sobs. In the background, I could hear my mother's voice. "Son, how are you? Protect yourself. Your father and I will figure out a way to save you." I quickly said, "Mom, don't worry. I've obtained Kaido's Azure Dragon Fruit. It's even stronger than a Logia type." Ashley immediately thought of the Divine Dimension channel. The video someone posted on the communication channel. The Azure Dragon in that video. Was that you? That's so cool. Hearing about the devil fruit, Ashley's fear vanished. My brother and I talked on the phone for a whole hour. After hanging up, I called my father. I told him I was now an ability user and would be back to save him soon. I told him to hide well and not risk coming out. At that moment, Dr. Aronau, who had been sitting anxiously in his office, finally breathed a sigh of relief after carefully instructing me. He quietly waited for his son's rescue. By the time I drove the large truck into Bianchang, it was already late at night. The streets were filled with zombies wandering aimlessly. In the dead of night, the rumbling of the large truck was particularly jarring. The residents, who were still awake, tossing and turning in fear, hurriedly opened their windows to see what was happening outside. I didn't go home, but drove straight to the central hospital. Hundreds of zombies were gathered here. I got out of the car and immediately transformed into my beast man state, with lightning crackling around my baseball bat. I wreaked havoc among the zombies with unparalleled strength. With every swing, a zombie's head would explode. Entering the hospital, there were no signs of living people. "You to wait here for me first. I'll get my dad, and then we'll go." After I left, Marcus and the woman immediately hid in a nearby room. He even used a lot of tables and chairs to block the door, waiting for my return. While killing zombies, I picked up my phone and called my father. "Dad, I've arrived at your hospital. Which room are you in?" Elsewhere, Dr. Ao, hungry, thirsty, and mentally tormented by the zombies constantly banging on his door, was dozing off late at night. He was startled awake by the ringing of his phone. Seeing it was his son's call, he immediately became alert. "Austin, there are a lot of zombies in the hospital." He didn't tell me his location, but instead reminded me to be careful. It wasn't until I video called him, showing him my majestic Dragon Man form annihilating everything in my path, that Dr. Ao felt relieved and gave me directions. I quickly arrived at an office in a corner. A dozen zombies were gathered here, constantly pounding on the door, which already had several holes in it. If Dr. Ao hadn't blocked the door with a lot of furniture, the zombies would have broken in long ago and torn him to shreds. I used my iron bat to eliminate these zombies, then kicked the door open with a powerful blow. My father in the room, though not in good shape, was physically unharmed. This was the best news. As Dr. Ao greedily ate the meat I gave him, he sized up the imposing dragon man before him. "This is the ability you and Ashley were talking about, a devil fruit ability?" Trapped in his office, Dr. Ao had used the time to watch many videos and comments on the Divine Dimensions communication channel. He had a rough idea of matters related to One Piece. I gave a goofy laugh. I casually swung my bat and killed another zombie that had just rushed in. "So, son, am I cool or what? You damn brat, you're awesome." In the short time he was trapped, Dr. Ao had witnessed countless people being killed by zombies. Now that his whole family was safe and sound, it was the best news in the apocalypse. On the way out of the hospital with my father, I could still see people peering out from the broken windows of some houses when they saw a Dr. Ao following a dragon man, and a powerful and domineering one at that. Someone immediately shouted, "Old Ao, save me." Seeing his colleague cry for help, Dr. Ao hesitated and said to me, "Austin, save them too. They're all colleagues, it's pitiful." But I shook my head. "And what after I save them? Am I supposed to take each of them home? Even if they get home, can they survive?" Ignoring the crowd's cries, I pulled my father and left quickly. When we passed the room where Marcus and Jade were, I cleared the zombies banging on their door, smashed the door with my bat, and then brought them out. "Sir, Master." Seeing me return, the two of them immediately spoke with reverence. Dr. Ao was stunned. He stared at me in disbelief, a muscular man, a stunningly beautiful woman. Why were people like this so respectful to his son? Moreover, he clearly heard that beautiful girl call his son master. My son is playing such a big game behind my back. Even though I had lived 2 lives and had a thick skin, I felt a little hot-faced at this moment. But I still pretended to be calm. Just a couple of subordinates I picked up on the road. But Dr. Ao's eyes clearly didn't believe me. A look that screamed, "You're definitely not telling the truth." I was speechless and didn't bother to explain further. I led them back to the large truck. After letting my father sit in the passenger seat, I sent Jade back to the rear compartment. Back home, my sister Ashley looked at Jade Liu with a shocked expression. Wow, what a beautiful woman. And what did this woman just call my brother? Master? Oh my God. What has my brother been doing outside? He even dared to bring this woman home. And that muscular guy, if he told me he was special forces, I'd believe him. And he's calling my brother boss? At this moment, Jade stood there like a professional maid, her hands clasped in front of her. Standing quietly behind me, Marcus was clearly a bit embarrassed. Although he was an extrovert, this was the family of the boss he respected. He didn't know how to act around them. Finally, my mother, Helen Zhang, took the initiative. Everyone must be hungry, right? Come in and eat. She knew her son was coming back, so she stayed up all night cooking, just so her son and husband could have a hot meal. She just didn't expect her son to bring back to more people, so there didn't seem to be enough rice. But luckily, I had prepared a lot of canned food. Opening a few cans, the table was soon filled. Seeing Marcus and Jade standing timidly to the side, I quickly called them over to eat together. Just as Marcus was about to step forward, Jade actually said, "Just give me some canned food. I can't sit and eat with Master." The moment these words came out, everyone present was dumbfounded. My father's suspicious gaze darted back and forth between the two of us. Suddenly, he shouted, "I know, this is called flirting," before he could finish. I flicked him right on the forehead. It hurt so much that tears welled up in his eyes. He immediately grabbed my arm and bit it. After dinner, I took the devil fruits out of my backpack and said to my parents and sister, "I still have the devil fruits here. One is the rumble fruit, and I don't know what the other one is yet. You guys eat them." Marcus and Jade were both shocked. "He has to more." Their eyes revealed a deep longing. Ashley was extremely curious, picking up the two fruits to play with. Then she handed them to our parents. Looking at the magical fruits, Dr. Aaron, after examining them, handed them back to me. "Give one to your friends. We're old already. It would be a waste for us to eat them." Helen Zhang also said, "That's right. Having you to protect us is more than enough. Such precious things will surely be of greater use if you keep them. I already have the Azure Dragon Fruit. My strength will definitely increase quickly. Eating a devil fruit can also help you kill zombies faster in exchange for Haki training methods. These are the real assets for survival in the apocalypse." But no matter how much I tried to persuade them, my parents wouldn't accept. "If you get more later, you can give them to us then. It's too much of a waste for us to eat them now." I could only shake my head helplessly and turn to Ashley. "You pick one." Ashley had been staring intently for a while now. Seeing it was finally her turn, she became visibly excited. She picked up the two fruits, looking left and right. The rumble fruit was famous. Eating this one was the safest bet. The other one, she didn't even know its name. If it was just a regular Zoan type, it would be a huge loss. But after thinking for a moment, she still handed the rumble fruit back to me. "You eat this one." I asked curiously, "You're not eating the rumble fruit? The elementalization of a Logia type is invincible in the early stages. Besides, who knows what that other one is?" Ashley shook her head. "There's a membranizing potion in the divine dimension that can remove the side effects of a devil fruit and allow a person to eat another one. Brother, you're so strong now, you'll definitely get that potion. The rumble fruit is a great fit for you. I'll just eat this one." I thought for a moment and said, "All right then. Let me appraise it first. If the ability is good, you can eat it." Appraise? Ashley was taken aback. The ability to appraise fruits was a privilege only unlocked when one's points reached 1,000. Ashley's current point total was 0, so of course, she didn't know. From the school, back home, and then fighting at the central hospital gate, the number of zombies I had killed had exceeded 1,000, just enough for one appraisal. But after hearing that it cost 1,000 points, Ashley immediately objected. "No way, no way. 1,000 points is too expensive." Without waiting for me to argue, she grabbed the golden, juicy-looking corn-like fruit and stuffed it straight into her mouth. One swallow, and it's done. I was instantly startled. I didn't expect Ashley to eat it directly. If this fruit turned out to be weak, it would be too late for regrets. But Ashley had already swallowed a piece. The die was cast. I could only pray that its ability was strong enough. Everyone present stared intently at Ashley, watching for any changes after she swallowed the fruit. Ashley herself was very nervous, feeling the strange energy in her body. Soon, this energy enveloped her entire body. Her body began to change slightly. Her cheeks elongated, her ears grew larger and perked up, and her body surface grew white fur interspersed with dark golden stripes. Then, her whole body rapidly shrank, turning into a small, palm-sized white rat. A Zoan type. Everyone immediately understood. But this little rat looked very special. Very likely not a common type. The little rat spoke in a human voice. "Brother, you guys are so big." I squatted down and asked her curiously, "What type are you? Common, ancient, or mythical?" Ashley giggled, "Mythical." Hearing the word mythical, my spirits lifted. It seemed my sister's gamble hadn't been a loss. Mythical types all had special abilities. "What's your ability?" "Watch this." As she spoke, Ashley dove straight down. She directly submerged into the gap between the floorboards, and the ground showed no signs of bulging or being destroyed, as if the little rat had become one with the earth. Very quickly, the little rat emerged from behind me and transformed into her beast man form. Her beast man form was extremely cute. On top of her original appearance, she grew large ears with white patterns, her claws became sharp, and a long, slender white tail appeared behind her. Knowing everyone was curious about her abilities, Ashley didn't hide them. She introduced herself. "This young lady would like to solemnly introduce everyone to my devil fruit." Ashley puffed out her small chest proudly and said cheerfully, "My devil fruit is called the Zoan type, Ratrat fruit, mythical model Hordrat. It has a total of 3 abilities. The first is that I can pass through any earth-type obstacles. For example, passing through walls is like passing through a layer of water for me. The second is that I have an independent treasure storage space that can hold inanimate objects." As she spoke, Ashley picked up a mop from the corner and put it into her chest. Everyone watched with wide eyes as that long, thick object went into her chest and completely disappeared. I couldn't help but exclaim in shock, 4-dimensional cleavage. The key is, she's not even that big. My mother, Helen Zhang, even bent down to look into her daughter's chest and reached in to feel if it had really disappeared. Then, Ashley reached into her chest and pulled out the long, thick mop again. "How big is this space of yours?" This was the key issue I was most concerned about. As far as I knew, there was no storage equipment in the first divine period. I didn't know if there would be later, but if Ashley's ability had enough space, she could carry a lot of things without fear of losing them. Ashley sensed for a moment and said, "Right now, it's only 10 cubic meters. But as the devil fruit develops, the space will gradually get larger." Then she continued to introduce her abilities. "That's not all. I have another ability that's even more amazing. Earth phasing plus a personal space was already godlike enough." "Seriously, she has another ability?" Ashley said proudly, "The third ability is treasure sensing. I can sense the aura of treasures and use that aura to determine their location. Right now, my sensing range can cover half of Bianchang." Wow, hearing that, I almost cursed out loud. Earth phasing, storage space, plus treasure sensing. I suddenly felt that my Azure Dragon Fruit wasn't so great anymore. But then again, the Azure Dragon's abilities were also numerous. First, it simultaneously possessed control over wind, fire, and lightning. Second, its powerful flight ability. Finally, its strength far surpassed other Zoan types, along with enhanced defense, speed, and recovery. Comparing the two, the Azure Dragon was more combat-oriented, while the Hordrat focused on non-combat support abilities. Ashley's voice suddenly became a little dejected. But there's also a drawback. Unlike other Zoan types, when I transform into my beast form, my strength and defense are almost 0. I have no combat power at all, and after transforming into my beast man form, I get almost no boost in strength and defense. I'm still just like a normal person, but my speed is very fast. I estimate the speed boost is at least double that of other Zoan-type devil fruits. Speaking of this, Ashley was still very proud. It wasn't a combat-heavy devil fruit, but its utility was even greater than the Azure Dragons. Finding treasures in this era, what could be considered a treasure, it was almost a no-brainer. Devil fruits were the only answer. Of course, not entirely. Later, secret realms would open up, and Ashley's ability could also help us gain more benefits there. Oh, right? Just leave this rumble fruit in your treasure storage space. Only there will it be safe. After seeing Ashley's devil fruit ability, I handed the rumble fruit to her. At the same time, I transferred 30 points to each of them so they could exchange for the 3 types of Haki training methods. Even without a devil fruit, as long as one's haki was trained to the extreme, one could become a powerhouse. Even with a devil fruit, if one's haki wasn't strong enough, they would gradually be eliminated in the apocalypse. Then, I exchanged for a normal military knife for each of them from the divine dimension. I then led everyone out of the house, downstairs. Countless zombies were still wandering ceaselessly. I transformed into a dragon man, breaking a zombie's ribs with one swing of my bat and disabling its 2 arms. I said to my dad, "Dad, use this knife to cut off its head." Dr. Ao hesitated a little. Although the opponent was a zombie, they were once human. Asking him to cut off their heads was no different from killing someone, so he couldn't bring himself to do it. Ashley saw that her father didn't dare to act and took the initiative. "Big brother, let me do it. I'll show Dad how it's done." Saying that, she drew the long knife in her hand and, with one slash, severed the zombie's neck. Thick blood flowed out, the stench assaulting the nostrils. Dr. Ao frowned, but as a doctor, he didn't feel scared. I did the same thing again, disabling another zombie. This time, Jade Liu took the initiative to cut off its head. After witnessing the 2 girls act, Dr. Ao was finally able to do it himself. Then it was my mother, Helen Zhang's turn. She also cut off a zombie's head. As for Marcus Meng, he was someone who could kill a zombie on his own. As a boxing coach, his combat ability was much stronger than my family's. Now they had the haki training methods, and the cultivation of armament haki relied on pushing the body to its limits and constant combat. Training the body in battle was the foundation for becoming stronger. "You guys practice near the house first. I'll go hunt zombies farther away." Fighting zombies was not only for physical training, but also to earn points. This was the currency of the apocalypse, not only for exchanging items from the divine dimension, but also for trading with others. The original monetary system had already collapsed. "I'll go with you." Seeing that I was about to leave, Ashley quickly hugged my arm. Hearing her plead, I frowned. "No, I'll clear out the zombies near the house. If you guys get tired, you can go home and rest. It's too dangerous to go far with me. Besides, your devil fruit ability isn't strong." Ashley said again, "I feel a treasure in the southwest. I can lead you to find it." Ashley's words startled me. A treasure? What else could it be right now besides a devil fruit? "All right, you follow me closely. Don't run off on your own." Then I gave Marcus a few instructions and led Ashley southeast. Both of us were in our beastman forms. The speed of the horde rat amazed me. Thanks to her incredible speed and earth-phasing ability, the zombies couldn't even touch a corner of Ashley's clothes. Although Ashley's own attack power wasn't strong, she could still use hit-and-run tactics to kill zombies. As I killed another zombie with one swing, Ashley also successfully beheaded one. But the continuous use of her ability left her panting. Even so, she happily showed off to me. "Brother, I killed another one." A praise me now look on her face. I laughed and said, "Our Ashley is really amazing." Hearing my praise, her beautiful eyes curved into crescents, and a pair of small dimples appeared on her cheeks. But how could one be so smug in battle? A zombie lunged from behind, aiming for Ashley's neck. She hurriedly wanted to phase into the ground to escape, but the excessive stamina consumption prevented her from doing so. The zombie got closer and closer. In that critical moment, I smashed the zombie with one swing. "Brother, I can't fight anymore." Ashley panted. She hadn't gone through a month of insane training like me, nor did she have my haki talent. With the help of my points, she had only just obtained the qualification to cultivate haki, but she hadn't truly awakened it. The horde rat fruit didn't add any stamina either. The fact that she could fight until now was thanks to her diligent daily training. "Just point the way. I'll take you there." Ashley put the long knife into her storage space, transformed into her beast form, and jumped onto my shoulder. The tiny, palm-sized rat kept rubbing against my scale-covered cheek. I just melted. A sky-shattering roar echoed throughout the city, startling countless people hiding in residential buildings. They all stuck their heads out and saw an azure dragon riding the clouds, soaring high into the sky, straight into the cloud layer. "The azure dragon big bro is here. Can we ask him to clear out the zombies?" Someone again recorded the scene of the azure dragon flying and posted it on the Divine Dimensions communication channel. They didn't dare to fight the zombies themselves, only able to hide in their homes and communicate with people all over the world through the Divine Dimension. In the skies above Biancheng, following Ashley's directions. I quickly arrived at the place she said had treasure. In the forest, Ashley, in her horde rat form, kept sniffing with her tiny nose. The closer she got to the treasure, the stronger her feeling became. I landed from the air. After landing, I transformed back into my half-human, half-beast form. We quickly rushed into the forest. There were few people here, and zombies were also scarce. Only a few scattered ones that I easily smashed. Suddenly, Ashley's eyes widened, and she cried out. Under a large pine tree, a scummy-looking man was holding a red, star-shaped fruit. He was ecstatic. He had run out of the city, planning to hide in the sparsely populated outskirts. But he had unexpectedly found this devil fruit in the forest. He wasn't a One Piece fan, so he didn't know what this fruit was. But from the Divine Dimensions forums, he knew that no matter what fruit it was a priceless treasure. Ha ha, this heavenly fortune has finally fallen to me, Wang Defa. As he spoke, he opened his mouth full of yellowed teeth, about to take a bite. Both Ashley and I paled. There's no time. I immediately spat out a blast of heat breath, engulfing the man. In an instant, before he could even scream, he was incinerated to ashes by the heat. Ashley and I rushed over. Seeing the devil fruit in the pile of ashes was still intact, we quickly picked it up. Having lived through one apocalypse, I had long since lost any so-called compassion. I wasn't a good person. Killing and robbing in the apocalypse was all too common. Ashley seemed a little conflicted. Killing a living person for a fruit didn't align with the education she had received. I told my sister, in the apocalypse, the only rule is that the strong are king. Strength is justice, weakness is a sin. If I didn't have this power, and was discovered by a stronger person, while trying to get a devil fruit, I would have ended up just like that man. Ashley nodded lightly. Although the apocalypse had only been going on for 2 days, she had already seen the ugliness of human nature on the Divine Dimensions forums. Killing and robbing at least had a reason. In the apocalypse, people unleashed their evil instincts in much more irrational ways. Even though the girl beside me understood this reasoning, she still felt uncomfortable in her heart. She hugged my arm tightly and looked at the devil fruit with me. The heart-shaped red devil fruit had black spiral patterns on its surface. As die-hard One Piece fans, we both recognized it. This was one of the most expensive devil fruits in the pirate world. Like the Nika fruit, it was valued at 5 billion berries. This was the Opop fruit. I looked back at the corpse on the ground. The Opop fruit's ability was very powerful. In my past life, the person who possessed it was an extremely famous powerhouse. But this wretched man and the powerhouse in my memory were not at all alike. This man must have died not long after eating the fruit. And then the Opop fruit respawned somewhere else in the world and was eaten by a true powerhouse. Devil fruits in the apocalypse were just like in the manga. As soon as the ability user died, the fruit would randomly respawn elsewhere. So, later on, there were also physical-type powerhouses who hunted down weaker ability users in an attempt to get the respawned devil fruit for themselves. But the success rate was extremely low because no one could predict the respawn location. Can we give this Opop fruit to Dad? He would definitely like it. I immediately thought of the best home for the Opop fruit. My father, Dr. Aronau, was a surgeon. He would definitely be very interested in it. After getting the fruit, I transformed into an Azure Dragon again, let Ashley sit on my back, and quickly returned home. My parents, due to lack of stamina, had already gone home to rest. Jade Liu was diligently taking care of them, which made them feel quite uncomfortable. Marcus Meng, on the other hand, was still fighting alone downstairs. He knew that just following me wasn't enough to be valued in the future. He himself had to be strong enough. Downstairs, there were also quite a few people trying to kill zombies. After all, the items in the Divine Dimension shop were too tempting. However, even the cheapest 3-color Haki training method required a dozen points for each type, which meant killing dozens of zombies. They took out kitchen knives, iron shovels, wooden sticks, and all the weapons they could find in their homes to fight the zombies. But the zombies' strength, speed, and defense far surpassed theirs. Many people had their stomachs torn open by zombies or were bitten and infected, turning into new zombies. When Marcus Meng saw me return, he immediately reported the situation after I left. "You've worked hard. If you're tired, go rest." I was very satisfied with Marcus's performance. This hardworking and daring spirit was the guarantee for survival in the apocalypse. I still want to continue fighting. After I gave him points, and he bought the 3-color Haki training methods, although he hadn't awakened the 3 types of Haki yet. Marcus could clearly feel his physique improving with each battle. He was a boxing coach, and his body was almost developed to its maximum potential. He hadn't felt the exhilarating feeling of his strength increasing in a long time, so he especially cherished what I had given him. Without me, even if he was confident he could kill a weakened zombie, he estimated it would have taken him at least 5 more days. Alright, just pace yourself. Don't push yourself too hard. Then I led Ashley upstairs. As soon as I entered, I saw Jade Liu massaging my mother, Helen Zhang's legs. Although the 2 elders were in good physical condition, they were old after all. After such a fierce battle, their bodies were aching. Even though Jade's technique wasn't very professional, having someone massage them was still much more comfortable. Seeing me enter, Jade immediately and obediently called out, "Master." This girl was indeed very shrewd. I felt my judgment of people was not bad. Both Marcus Meng and Jade Liu were worth cultivating. As soon as she entered the room, Ashley let go of my hand and jumped to her father's side. "Dad, we brought back something good for you." As she spoke, she proudly took out the Opop fruit from her chest and placed it in front of Dr. Aaron. The Opop fruit, a paramecia type. You're a doctor, so you'll definitely like its ability. The moment the Opop fruit appeared, Jade Liu's heart trembled slightly, but she quickly composed herself and continued to vigorously massage Helen Zhang's legs. In her heart, only shock remained, and she felt even more fortunate for her choice. Dr. Aaron wasn't very excited. After all, he had never watched One Piece. He took the fruit from his daughter's hand and looked at it curiously. "The Opop fruit. I can perform surgery after eating it." From the name of the fruit, my father naturally made this assumption. "But I know how to perform surgery. Can it make me even better at it?" Ashley immediately explained to her father, "The Opop fruit can create a space. In this space, you can cut anything, and you can easily." Ashley's explanation was a bit messy. Seeing that her father still didn't understand, she found a video about the Opop fruit and showed him each of Law's abilities one by one. Dr. Aaron became more and more amazed. "Devil fruits are truly magical, but I'm already old. You 2 kids should use this fruit. If you and your mother are stronger, I can also work with peace of mind and not have to worry about the family all the time." I deliberately said this. Dr. Aaron, upon hearing it, was indeed persuaded. As parents, they didn't want to become a burden to their children. When my father took a bite, the unpalatable taste immediately spread throughout his mouth. Seeing her father grimace, Ashley quickly explained, "All devil fruits taste bad. Absolutely don't spit it out. Don't chew, just swallow it whole. You only need to eat 1 bite. Quickly feel the power of the devil fruit in your body and see if you can use it." Dr. Aaron followed her instructions, guided by the power in his body. He gently raised his hand and pressed down. A transparent dome appeared around him. He looked at the mop not far away, and with a thought, he swapped places with it. Seeing this, both Ashley